Hello, and welcome back to Voices of the Embodied Leader. I'm so excited to share with you today this wonderful woman beside me, Chara. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Mhm. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, we're going to have a chat today. We're going to share. And I literally just want to jump right in, Chara. I want to get started with kind of what's alive in you and what it is that you offer to this beautiful collective with your incredible work that you're doing.
Oh my goodness, what's alive in me and what do I offer? And before I dive in,
Yes.
let's plug in, like literally plug in. So what's alive in me? I feel like it's perfect, really, because embodiment has been so alive in me. Like really just making sure that what I am sharing with other people, what I am preaching, that I am actually doing those things and more myself. So I love that like embodiment is a thing.
Mm.
Have your embodied leadership collective. And I'm like just all about being what I am sharing with the world. And that's what's alive in me right now. And even in this place, in this very moment where I'm so excited to be here and life is good, and I'm just kind of like, oh, tired, just like, what? But I love that this is such a space that's perfect. I don't have to pretend to be or to feel a certain way. I can just, this is where I'm at and this is what's happening and it's all beautiful and accepted, you know?
Please be authentic. We go for presence over performance here.
Yes. Drinking my green juice out of my wine glass, which is like,
Mhm.
cheers, pinky up. And then what was your question? What do I offer the world?
Yeah,
Like what
you're here as an embodied leader. And I'll even preface this by saying the women that I invited to do these chats with are women that inspire and or challenge me in my own expression of becoming. So you're here because you're one of those women. You're one of those women that has inspired me as well as challenged me in
Mhm.
stepping what it is I truly here to do, embody, and be. And you have your own wonderful offerings, and I've hung around the perimeter and the edges, and you've already had that impact on me. So what's it like to be really in your world, and what do you to
Oh,
those women?
oh my goodness. So what I'm striving to provide, so my business is called the self-care movement. So I am like all about self-care, but not in the way that you think. Because most of the time we hear of self-care and we think, oh, we're gonna wash our face and get a massage and take care of our outer bodies. But I am all about the deep inner work, like really doing that deep introspection and healing, like on an energetic, cellular, physical, like just inner. ah. So
Mm,
in my world, we do true self care and we go deep and we prioritize the deep inner work above everything else because that's the foundation that everything gets built on
mhm.
is right
Absolutely.
who we are and how well in our body and soul and spirit we can be. That's what everything gets built on. So we have to prioritize that. And so my work is taking you inward and doing the deep inner healing and evolving and growing so that you can step into your purpose even beyond what you can imagine is possible because you're so whole and complete, which we are anyway. But
Mm.
like we get to feel that and just, I don't know. That
You say of that part of ourselves where we recognize we're whole.
yes, yes. Where we know with certainty that we are worthy of like more than we can even imagine, and that we have a purpose on this planet and in this world to help other people. And so we take what we've experienced in the past, like all the good, the ugly, the difficult things, we take that and we can turn it into something beautiful. We have to go inward and really look at those things to do that. And But that in a nutshell is like
Nutshell, yeah.
what it's all about is the deep inner work,
Uh, that's
foundation. Yeah.
And I know just from following you online and really seeing people in your world share their experience of being in your containers and working with you, that transformation is a big part of the work that you do. And so I'm wondering, like, who are the women that step into your world? What is it that they are deeply longing for that you have attracted them in? And if you could just, yeah, give me a little rundown of who they are when they step into your world and that evolution that you take them through.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the women who step into my world are like they've lost themselves. Or maybe they're on the journey to finding themselves, right? And they know that it's important to do the inner work to heal, but they haven't quite wrapped their mind around the idea of actually like actually doing that and taking those steps and what it involves. And so they come into my world and they start taking those steps and it's the transformation happens and it can happen. It's never, it takes time, it takes practice, but it can happen a lot quicker than you think
Yeah.
when you go to this deep level. And so people come in hustle mode and in survival energy and stressed out and they're juggling so many things, being parents or caregivers and working full time and running businesses, and they come last oftentimes. And so I'm inviting them to completely flip that upside down and to put themselves first. And they end up happier and more successful quite quickly
Yeah.
with less.
Right.
Right?
It's amazing
With
how
a lot, but it's inner stuff instead of the outer stuff. It's much more of the feminine than the the masculine go. And so I've definitely witnessed, and it's such an honor to witness this. I just the women come in and they're just like shedding layers that they've been holding onto for so long,
Mhm.
and the healing that takes place and the self-love that begins to develop. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. It's like truly loving and valuing who we are at our core. It's loving yourself
Enough to
and
take care of yourself.
yeah, and to put yourself above other people. Like, "What? You mean I'm supposed to love myself more than my kids?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you
Because if you do, then you're an example to them and you're actually able to give more to them. And it's just so foreign to so many people, and even people who have a logical understanding of that. 'Cause I have all levels come through. I have people who have barely barely done any work at all, and then people who are, like, really high level, but it's so easy to forget how important it is to go inward, and that's what they get coming into my world is just this beautiful reminder that you are important and you are worthy and you deserve love and to love yourself. Like, you get to do this. This is important and it's beautiful and it will change, it'll break cycles, it'll change the world if more and more people can do this. I
girl,
know.
like, nail on the head. No, it's amazing. Please, I love it. We're here to hear from you. We're here to there are codes in the words that you share, right? So please don't hold back. Let it pour out. There's this energy and I had another interview today and we got onto this topic too, and you just said it. It's like when we raise our frequency by loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, we impact the collective. And that is what I truly believe so many of us, right? So many of us are here to do. I firmly believe that my soul and your soul, and those of us who are out here, listen, I have got some beautiful magic and medicine for you. At the core of it, I feel like those of us who are successful in helping people transform, it's the same stuff, but it's our own version of the medicine, our own version of the magic. And we chose to be here to help raise the collective vibration. Like, this is a transformative time in humanity. And there's no doubt in my mind that we chose this time to be a part of this great shift. And I know it's science that 20% of any population, you might have heard me say this before, but 20% of any population, it initiates the rest of the population to rise. And so here you are out here, you're helping people to access that love, which inevitably increases their frequency and also their capacity because we're doing somatic work. That's a thread of doing that inner work is somatic. So we increase
Yeah.
capacity and then we then model that for others and it's easier for them. So, I love like, nail on the head, yes, this is so much more than about me or you or the people that we inspire and guide and help. This is like a great impact movement that we're all a part of.
It's a movement. Yes. And I feel people like you and I and the people that we are striving to love and share this with, it's like we are meant to make that impact. That's what we're here for. And it's like we are calling others to rise.
Mhm.
And even like, where am I going with this? Like when we love ourselves more and we begin to have more boundaries, and when we are tolerating certain behaviors less, say someone's not treating us well or we're in that disempowering relationship and we begin to raise our standards and have boundaries and ask ourselves what's loving to me, and then things like people fall off and it seems sometimes it's sad, like you're losing people, but I don't want to hurt their feelings and I don't want to. Well, and it's just it feels tough, but then if you look at it, we are actually calling them to rise. We're calling them to rise. So by setting a boundary and by loving ourselves first, we are calling everyone around us to rise. And people will rise that you wouldn't expect it from.
Totally.
Like,
Totally,
uh, it might be a year or two later, and you're like, oh, look at this ripple effect that I did not see from me setting a boundary and choosing me instead of somebody else. Because what is loving to us, whether it seems like it in the moment or not, is loving to other people.
it's the
It's like,
that we create.
yeah, yeah. So we're calling everyone to rise. Those of us that were like directly taking their hand and pulling them in, and also even those that were like, I deserve to be treated with love and respect. So bye. We're actually calling those people to rise too, and they
Yes.
will.
Yes, we
They,
are.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen it in my own life, as I'm sure you have over the years, because the truth is, and I know this is true for you. I'm not gonna speak for you, I'll let you speak on it, but
You're
it
good.
like, we didn't get here by being this way all the time. We went through those motions. We found ourselves in a place where we were lost or unsure, and we had to go within. So we me, you, anybody else who's out here that's I can help, I can encourage, I can inspire, I can guide. We've gone through the motions. We have felt into our deepest insecurities and shame, and we have allowed that part of ourself to be integrated so that we could show up and say, "Here, take my hand. Let's do this." It's not like it just happened. It's not one day we woke up and we're like, "Okay, sweet, I'm totally capable, shifting the collective." There was milestones, there was passages, there was moments, and based on what you said and the way that you serve women, my guess is that you have some moments in your life where you were like, those were pivotal, like, shifting moments where you decided that things were gonna be different, and I'm wondering if you could speak on any of those or like a kind of a culmination of where you came from and the evolution it took for you to be like, "No, I'm good and whole in myself, and I can lead you to do the same thing."
Yeah, and well, I'm still in progress. Just when you think you're done,
Yeah.
I was talking to my challenge group today about this, about taking radical responsibility for our lives, and like even when we didn't deserve X, Y, and Z thing that happened to us, right? It wasn't our fault. However, it is our responsibility to choose how we handle it and how we move forward and to do the work to heal. And I was sharing with them a little bit about some of my trauma. And there's been some sexual abuse and some different events that have happened over my life that they may or may not compare. to other people be all that bad. But for me, they were points that created limiting beliefs about who I am as a person that I had no idea were even like planted there. And so after doing years and years of deep inner work, I was in a session with my coach and it's, oh, there's shame there. And
Mm.
there's this belief that I am used and that I am not worthy of love and respect from men. And I started to put the pieces together and I'm like, that's why I was in these types of relationships. I'm like, oh, because I have this belief that I'm not worthy. And so I'm going to be attracting a certain level, a certain type of man that mirrors that belief in myself that I wasn't even aware of until 2 months ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like but then once we figure it out, then we're empowered then we have the opportunity to change our beliefs and to do more work in that area and step up. Like, "Ooh, I am worthy of a man that desires and is capable of supporting me financially, emotionally, like, in all the ways." And now I can attract a different person into my life. I have this opportunity. And I don't know if you even asked the question that involves
Right.
that.
Well, let it flow. Like I
But
said, codes are
let
coming.
it go.
Yeah, there's the channel.
Yeah, and it's all about becoming aware of our patterns and how things that may have happened to us or not happened to us and different traumas and different events, whether they're really big or even if they're small, beginning to understand how that affected us and is still affecting us so that we have the opportunity to change it. And I think for a lot of us in this work, we're being initiated. And so for us to make a big impact, it's like almost required that we've gone through something. And it doesn't have to be a huge capital T trauma that we go through, but we go emotionally and somatically and through that healing journey, we're still experiencing things that give us the tools that we need to then go and help other people. And we can start to view every single tough time. And of course, we still get to feel it and have our temper tantrums but we can view every time that we're going through a process or going through something that's hard. Ah, okay, this is going to be a big initiation. Like this is going to be used for the greater good in
Mm.
some way, shape, or form. Okay, I surrender to it. Bring it. Like, let's do this. Let's go there. And it just creates this openness. Like, once you realize that you're on this planet for a bigger purpose and to help raise the collective, every struggle is like an opportunity. It just flips the script. And, sometimes I need to be reminded of that in the middle of going through something, but that's what it is. It's like, this is another initiation, Chara.
Absolutely.
Bye.
I know, right? Oh man,
Oh,
I can totally relate. I definitely a couple years ago I actually hosted some master classes about that subject specifically because I personally really live into like rhythm, really live into the ebb and flow, like following moon cycles, seasonal cycles. My life is run by the season. And so I needed to really be able to embody and live into the fullness of the full moon and the, like, quiet darkness of the new moon. It's very alive, like, in me, and a couple years ago, I taught some classes about the power of the breakdown, that it's actually a breakthrough, right? And this is where we get to break ground. There was a time, and I might have taken it a little too far, but I was like, "Yeah, that's right, universe. I want all the lessons, bring them on," and things did get a little bit crunchy for a little while, but it was for that very reason. I knew no matter how deeply discomfort was landing inside of me, I knew that there was a bigger purpose here and that eventually it would end, that everything is temporary, and that when I come out on the other side, you better watch out.
yeah. What no, girls? Here we are. I love it. From breakdown to breakthrough. Like there's synonyms is what I got from that. It's yeah.
Exactly, right? Because that's the changing of the script that you were talking about, and I think that when we come from breakdown, it's that very, like, unmet feminine energy of I'm a victim and I'm in pain and I'm hurting and I need to collapse and I need to go fall into this, as opposed to that energy of the void is everything and I am the oracle and I can shift mountains. It's like the same thing is happening, but it's that story that you're telling yourself about it.
Exactly, exactly. And it is such a harmony, like a beautiful balance, a beautiful harmony that takes place is because we're still really allowed to feel all the icky feelings, like the somatic piece so deeply. We don't have to go immediately from feeling the bang to, nope, this is for a purpose.
No.
It's break. No, we get to go through all the and at the same time, the duality of it, we know we have a knowing that it's for something bigger and that it's for a purpose. And it can exist at the same time and we go between it.
So that's it. And that is the lesson is we can still feel pain and discomfort and frustration and overwhelm, but it's the reason we put behind it. Is it because I'm broken and I've done something wrong and the world is against me? Or is it because I'm ready for a new initiation? I'm ready for a new layer and I'm ready to become that next version. And it's what's taking place again is exactly, it looks the same from the outside, but it's that inside belief and story that we're telling.
Yes,
So
exactly. It's what
powerful.
we
So powerful, especially as women. I find that, I mean, we are cyclical beings, and it is in our nature to feel everything. And we often repress those feelings, which causes a lot of discomfort along the way that we often ignore. But we've also been shamed our whole lives for being too much or saying too much or feeling too much. And one of the things that I see you doing is providing a platform in the most sacred and safe way possible for women to get in touch with what it is that they have not been letting themselves feel because it just wasn't pretty. And that's the breakthrough and reframing. That's the breakthrough, guys. Feel that.
feel your feelings. And everyone's like, "What?"
You want me to what?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
practice too, right? But maybe you could speak on that a little bit. Speak on that, like you have a beautiful offering. You have like regular, consistent challenges. I've been a part of them before. I love them. The women that are in there are just like ready and willing, which I absolutely love. I love those types of containers. But my belief, my knowing is that you have also had to come up to meet edges where it was like, "Oh my god, this feels like I'm not doing it right," or there's shame involved, or who do I think I am? That's an inner narrative for me. Who do you think you are? So if you could just talk on that and let's like really lean into the somatics of that, like how that shows up in the body and how you hold yourself in that discomfort so that you can still show up.
Like I'll literally hold myself in that discomfort. Like, you put yourself in the posture and you make the sound and you really feel it. It's so important that when those things come up that they're not dismissed, right? It's our nervous system, you know this, it's our nervous system trying to keep us safe. And so we've got to meet those edges with so much love and compassion, right? Just like we were trying to care for a small child. Oh my goodness, you're scared. It's okay to be scared. And you're like, oh my gosh, but you've got this, but you can still be scared a little bit. We've got this though. And you're just like, you really allow yourself to feel into it. That's emotional mastery. So I call myself, I shifted my title because we can do that as coaches. I'm an emotional mastery coach. And it's like, how can we feel our emotions, feel our feelings so fully and so in the moment that they are lovingly felt, accepted, and released in real time so that we're able to move forward because the more you stuff the emotions, the more they're going to hold you back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like, how do you really make sure that you feel it? And how do you also have practices every day for when the sneaky ones come in that are under the radar? 'Cause that still happens, that they're still being brought up and processed. whenever I have an ache or a pain in my body, is this an emotion that's been stuffed automatically that I'm just not aware of? And yep, times out of 10 it is. I'm like, but I'm good at this. I always feel my feelings. No, sometimes they still just go under the radar and get stuck. But emotional mastery is not only feeling them, feeling your emotions as they come up, but learning practices and doing them daily to actually move the ones through that just might need a little extra nudge, that are a little more sneaky, that are a little more like difficult.
They need a little
Uh,
lubrication. That's what's
they
coming
need to
like
be lube.
a bit to help them. You can share what are some practices that you live into, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever, but like some sort of like rhythmic practice that you basically give yourself permission to put yourself first, to do that practice, to help not only come into contact with feelings that maybe have been suppressed, but to really give yourself permission to move them. Is there like specific practices that you like?
I'm in breath work daily, like deep somatic breath work with the breath holds that you're moving emotions and you don't even know if it's anger or sadness or where it came from or what, but you get the different releases when you do those practices. So that's part of it. And another thing that I do is when a belief, a limiting belief comes up or a thought like, oh, you did it the first time, but you might not be able to do it again. Yeah, it might not work the second time. Like little sneaky ones, or it's an undercurrent of fear that's barely there, barely noticeable, but you begin to be aware of it. What I do is I imagine that part of me, that thought, that feeling is actually not even me.
Mm.
If it's not with love, it's not mine.
Mm.
And I still meet it with love, but it's not mine. And so I'll actually do like a visualization practice. And it sounds really woo woo because I'm like talking to myself out loud and blah, blah. But imagine this piece of me or that thought or that thing like comes out and is standing before me as a being. And I'll have a conversation with it. Okay, so for what purpose did you bring this up that I might not be able to do it again? Are you keeping me safe from something? Well, yeah, because if you don't expect to do it again, then you won't be disappointed. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And what else? And for what purpose? And for what purpose? And you're just digging, like you're juicing that thought for all the information that you can possibly get from it. And oftentimes, what comes through, it's almost if you're pretending, if you're imagining that thought isn't you and that it's not with love, then maybe they don't have your best interest in mind. Maybe it's actually trying to keep you stuck because if I stay stuck because I don't think I can do it twice, then that means I'm giving off a different vibration and I'm attracting less people. And then I won't help as many people. And then more people stay stuck and then the world stays the same. And so I'm like, all right, this has got to go. Thank you so much. And what I imagine happening next is that I am bringing that because now I pretend I've used my imagination, it's a being now, it's like a little person in front of me. I bring that to the light, and whether the light view is God, Jesus, universe, whatever it is for you is perfect, but you are bringing that to the light, and then you imagine that either and this is where you get to play with it, it gets to become your own, right? It can be that it's in the arms of God or that it's now just chilling up in outer space and it's all happy and okay, or it's maybe now that being, that thought, that thing is a part of your spirit team, like whatever you want it to be. And once you have imagined taking it to the light, you're juicing it for more wisdom.
Beautiful.
Okay, now that you're in this place, like, what do you got for me?
Mm.
And usually it's sure you're doing amazing.
Mhm.
Like, you're doing so good, and sometimes it's this juicy nugget of knowledge, like, your next step is to do this thing. And I'm
Mm.
like and I'll get downloads, like, create this program or message this person or go here, and it's really wild, but when we can go through this type of process where we're lovingly moving this this thought or limiting belief or undercurrent of emotion and we're moving it into the light, into love. And then we get the intuitive downloads from that we can then use to help others. It's really cool. If you want a good book to read, which is where I adopted this practice from, I changed it to make it my own, but it's Spirit Hacking by Shaman Durek.
Hey, awesome.
Really good.
I'll put
Really good.
the description too, just and link it maybe to Audible or
Yeah.
something for anybody who's interested. I
Yeah.
love that document, and I do have similar takes. I love to use my imagination when it comes to going into these territories. I
Yeah.
find that's like an easy channel for me to get into, and a lot of my biggest breakthroughs or purges or understandings have come from witnessing whatever it is that is organically coming to mind as a vision. And so I love that practice. I'm definitely going to give her a go. And there's this thread, and it came up in the other call too. So I'm feeling like called to shed a little light on it, which is this piece of alchemy, which is what you did. You took this being and you brought it to the light. And in my own practice, oftentimes I'll take whatever it is that is not serving and I let it burn in the flame to be purified, to be alchemized, to go back out into the ether with the trust and the knowing that it's going to be returned to me tenfold in love and enlightenment. And it's like, some people, "Ooh, if this doesn't land for you, if you're out there watching, you're like, these ladies are a little bit cuckoo." That's totally fine. We are a little bit cuckoo, but it is
Yeah.
just willingness to just be a little bit cuckoo that I know I have found so many parts of myself. I have reclaimed so many parts of myself. I have been able to access deeper amounts of love. And one of the things you said there was like in that alchemy process, in that bringing it to the light, you then start to actually tap into the intuition. And that's because we've done the emotional intelligence. And I talk about this a lot in the Moon Lounge. It's like when we do the emotional intelligence, which means I can feel what's in me. I can give myself permission to feel it and to be with it without being reactive, but just being with it with me, understanding it. Then what happens is this gateway opens. We alchemize the problem and we get given this portal of like deep knowing. And I love, love, love that you brought that up. That's such a I feel like that's one of the most potent pieces of leadership is being able to alchemize the discomfort to tap into this higher knowing. I don't know if
Yes.
you have a if you wanna add to that or if you have a specific story where I alchemized that and then the week later, this is what was born of that, but I would love to hear your experience or your take on that.
Yeah. What's funny, and this doesn't go into programs or anything like really huge, but it was just like a funny example that's, oh, this wisdom is actually, and this intuition is pretty powerful. I got rid of my old decrepit couch after doing this practice. It was old, it was awful. It had all of my ex's energy on it, and we had it until I could make enough money to get a new one. And at one point, it was just like, "That thing's gotta go." Okay. Yep. But I don't today. Okay. And so we got rid of the couch. We brought up the rocking chair and the yoga cushions, and we were just hanging out in the living room with like bare minimum for a while. And I went through this practice again, and I'm having the imagined, very real conversation with my I like to make them my spirit guides. They go on to my spirit team. So that's what I make of it. And I'm having this conversation and she's, "Oh, you really need a new couch." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And she's, "No, seriously, like today." And I'm like, "What?" And the message that I got was to go to a specific place at a specific time. And that's it. Go to Fabulous Finds. And I'm like, "All right, but can I do it tomorrow?" "Nope. If I don't have money, ask your freaking mom." I'm like, "Okay, I'll ask my mom." And so mom came over. We were going to do it in the afternoon instead of the morning. And it was like, "Nope, you got to go right now." So we went and then we walked in, and there was exactly what I wanted. And we bought it. And I know it's just like, it's a couch, like, who cares? But it was such an intuitive hit and so specific and where to go. Don't wait until the afternoon because it'll be gone. So specific. And we just walked in, turned the corner, and it was like,
That's the one.
that's the one. And it was basically, even though it's a couch, right? But it was reinforcement that these intuitive channels do exist. And when we practice and we make daily habits of going inward, we can access that intuition. Like, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense, but we can practice and learn to trust it more and just
Mhm.
feel things happen.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a couch or whether it's a program or whether it's going to a place at a certain time. I've had that happen to me. I
Mm.
want to go here. Nope. Okay, I need to go to this place. I don't want to go to this place. And I'm having this conversation with my intuition, right? And nope, that's where you got to go. All right. And you do it and you meet the right person and you have that conversation and you get this opportunity. And it's just really wild how real and tangible that actually is. And most people do not get that. Everyone has access to that, but we're not practiced or we're so in survival mode that we can't see or
Yeah.
we think that we're crazy, which it does sound crazy. It
Sometimes
does.
I
It
mean,
does.
and that's okay. That's another part of this, like, feminine reclamation is, like, it's okay to be a little bit out there, a little bit like, you can't put your thumb on it, that's okay. So I just wanna touch on just that intuition piece one last time because it's such a huge part of what has gotten me where I am, and I've lost it, and I've gotten it back, and I have this relationship, and what I've come to really understand is that it's like any other relationship where you have to show up, you have to get to know it, you have to trust it, you have to follow through and let it know that you're actually having this back and forth conversation with it for it to really start to become an easy practice, for it to become like just a more embodied practice rather than this like kind of out there pulling on a string of a psychic energy, as opposed to like, this is my knowing. And that relationship, it it builds and becomes stronger the more time you spend with it and get to know it just like any relationship.
Exactly. It requires nurturing. It
Mm.
requires showing up. It requires time. It requires practice to it when you think it makes absolutely no sense. And sometimes not listening to it. And then you're like, oh,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, that too, absolutely. My
okay. Thank you for the lesson.
exactly, it'll show you, it'll show you. And then the other part of that is if you ignore it often and it's ignored and it's disregarded and it's cast aside, and think of that as a best friend that you're casting aside, you're not listening to, you're disregarding, like, eventually, they're just gonna get quiet and disappear, and it's gonna be more difficult to access. You're gonna have to go a little bit deeper into the emotions and feel a little bit more to allow that to come alive. So I love that this is where the conversation that's where my deck came from. My deck was like an intuitive hit. It was like, "Now's the time. Do it now." And it just poured out of me, like, I feel like it was a very co-created experience. And that was the beginning in 2020 of me coming face to face with my own lack of emotional intelligence and diving a lot deeper into that space and my own and really accessing that intuition, and really I followed it for that hit, and it was easy and it came together, and it's been beautiful. It's been such a success, and that's now it's evolved into something even more, which is an emotional intelligence platform to be able to get in, dig around and see what's alive so that you can
Yeah.
cultivate that. So I love that
I
we went there. Oh, I love intuition. Please.
And whether or not this is like the place to talk about it or not, I'm creating a program
Mhm.
all about tapping into and strengthening your intuition. Like it's coming in August and I'm so excited. So it's all the embodied practices of how to actually have a clear and open channel so that you can trust it and tap into it and move with it. And then things happen in flow, just like you said with your Oracle deck. It's oh, now's the time, go. So it's never forced. It's
Yeah.
always in flow when you can tap into it. So
Amazing, amazing. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up soon, Chara, but I wanted to leave our viewers with just a small whisper of advice for any woman or man, anyone who is, you know what, there's something more to what I've
Mm,
got. There's something more here. What would be like a whisper of inspiration or advice that you would leave them with today?
mm. If you have that whisper, whether you want to call it an inner knowing or just a passing thought or whatever it might be, and it's saying that there's more, like that means there's more. And we've got to get really curious about that, right? And that can be scary. Taking those big leaps and making those big changes can be really scary, and you're allowed to do it in baby steps. And so the biggest thing is creating awareness and curiosity, because then it doesn't require big action steps at that stage, but you can get curious and take a look at it. So I guarantee if there's a question or a thought that passes, there's got to be more for me here or a deeper purpose. There absolutely is. There absolutely is. We are here for a purpose. Everyone is here for a purpose, and it's our choice. We get to choose whether or not we tap into that and whether we expand and move with it. And so I invite you all to allow that to move and to expand.
Mm,
That's how we raise the collective. That's how we break cycles. That's how we feel joy in our lives. And we deserve that.
absolutely. There you have it, guys. Get curious and access some more joy. Thank you, Chara, so much for being here with me today. It's my absolute honor to have this conversation, to be able to share you with my world. If you want to get to know Chara and more about what she has to offer, I will post the links in the description. You could also join us in the Embodied Leadership Collective. Chara is there, so you can connect with us there. And you can also find her on Facebook and Instagram, and she does regular challenges around self-care. And I highly recommend anyone who's who this girl to get in on the next one because they are potent, they are powerful, and they are transformative. So thanks again, Chara.
So much.
Have a lovely week.